got these two really different but equally fascinating stories today. Elena, the engineer, and Felipe, the music producer. And our mission really is to kind of reverse engineer their success. We want to get at the DNA of their innovation, but specifically, like, how do they innovate when everything around them seem to be shouting, nope, this can't be done?
Exactly. And what the source material really shows us is that true creative success, it's often not about having, endless resources. It's more about mastering the constraints you actually face. We're definitely looking at resilience, resourcefulness, open-mindedness, and passion. But viewing them totally through this lens of limitation. It's that combination, that synthesis that really makes the difference.
Right. Let's start with Elena then. Her determination, it seems, was born from just sheer necessity, acute necessity. She grew up watching these coastal storms just systematically wreck the homes in her small town over and over. The constraint wasn't just the weather, was it? It was also the financial barrier. I mean, the huge cost of rebuilding safely, sustainably, that frustration, it really became her fuel. Very specific, very focused fuel.
Absolutely. And that local persistent problem, it directly shaped her education, her whole path. She didn't just, study civil engineering in a general way. Her persistence and curiosity drove her deep into material science. And with basically one objective, find low-cost, high-durability solutions for vulnerable communities like hers. What's really fascinating here is how she sort of bypassed maybe more conventional academic routes to problem solve directly for her neighbors.
And this is where her resourcefulness really kicks in, doesn't it? She had to find an entirely new foundation, almost literally. By looking at materials nobody else really valued. Her key invention wasn't just some building block. It was actual structural material made from recycled plastic bottles. So she didn't just show resilience, like bouncing back. She channeled resourcefulness by taking this waste constraint, this trash problem, and redefining what a reliable building supply could even be.
Yeah, it's such a perfect example, isn't it? Turning discarded material, actual trash, into the foundation for something fundamentally better. Resilience isn't just about bouncing back. It's often about using what you have right in front of you, no matter how limited or, unconventional it seems, to create that solution.
Okay, so if Elena excelled by tackling a physical and financial constraint, let's switch gears and look at Felipe. How did he handle a constraint that was more, purely structural, the sort of strict boundaries of musical genres? His success seems defined by open and more by just a pure love of creative sound.
Right. And if we kind of connect this to the bigger picture, this willingness he had to cross boundaries, it's pretty essential for innovation in, almost any field, wouldn't you say? Felipe just refused to accept the constraints of conventional sound. He deliberately blended gritty hip-hop beats with delicate classical strings and then layered on top these traditional, really driving maracatu rhythms from Brazil. It's like calculated creative friction he was going for.
Wow, okay, that sounds, pretty unpopular at first glance, I imagine. Blending genres like that feels like a huge risk. I bet he faced some immediate doubt, right? So how do we distinguish that essential passion he needed from just plain stubbornness? Did the sources say if he ever had to pivot, or did he just rigidly stick to that initial experimental vision?
Yeah, that's a really important question. The sources definitely show he faced deep skepticism, a lot of it. But his open-mindedness meant he wasn't totally fixed on the initial execution being perfect, He was more focused on the experiment itself being continuous. He was flexible in how he executed things, trying different mixes. But he was pretty rigid in his belief that the hybrid genre could work. That passion, that underlying belief, it powered the experimentation, especially when, budget constraints hit or negative feedback piled up.
And the outcome really speaks volumes, doesn't it? A viral track leading to international collaborations. Amazing. For Felipe, ignoring those conventional expectations meant transforming into this global producer, and he became known precisely for breaking boundaries, which was a direct result of that initial risk-taking and flexibility.
So what does this all boil down to for you listening? We have Elena turning structural problems into resource innovation, taking trash and building homes. And then Felipe turning artistic rules, these genre boundaries, into creative freedom, finding new sounds. Their constraints were vastly different, sure, physical versus artistic.
But that underlying engine, it was kind of the same, wasn't it? Not just deep passion, though that was key. But critically, it was about using the specific constraints of their environment, lack of money, excess waste, rigid genres, using those things as unexpected fuel for innovation, not seeing them as just an excuse to stop trying.
So if we revisit those 4 big traits we identified, resilience, resourcefulness, open-mindedness, and passion, maybe consider this for yourself. Which one of these qualities do you personally feel is your biggest asset right now? Where do you feel strongest?
And maybe here's the challenge we can leave you with. Identify the greatest constraint in your current project, whatever that block is. Now, instead of just trying to eliminate it or wish it away, try channeling a bit of Elena's resourcefulness, or maybe Felipe's boundary-breaking mindset. Think about how you could use that very constraint, that very limitation, as the unexpected foundation for your next success. Go find your own unexpected string, so to speak.